Hey kids, we are doing lesson 2 today in module 5. So it's kind of a straightforward lesson. They're really just focused on one task here, and that is finding volume by packing a box with cubic units. And then you just count them, okay? But the just counting them is, again, can you figure out what the area of the base is? If it's a 2 by 2, then the area is 4. But then you have to multiply by the height. And the way they have these boxes created is by like cutting them open so that they're laid out flat. And so these kind of resemble a lot of questions that you'll see on various tests. They'll open a box out. Sometimes what they used to ask was, what's the surface area of this box? Now that's a different task than volume. Volume is put the box back together and then fill it up with stuff. And the stuff that you're filling it today in lesson 2 would be these centimeter cubes. So hopefully you have your centimeter cubes handy. You're going to need those. Hopefully your teacher gave them to you like I did for my estudiantes. So we're going to use the formula. The prisms we're going to make today are right rectangular prisms. That means they are perfectly rectangular in shape. They don't have pieces missing like some of the ones in lesson 1 yesterday. And so we're going to use this formula a lot. And then they also say, oh, also predict what it's going to be. I have a hard time predicting because I automatically am just looking and going length times width times height, and then I'm just calculating right away. So, so these are basically the notes. I do have a little extra, but this is kind of a review of what area is, and then before it jumps into the calculation. So this is flat. Remember, area is 2-dimensional. What's the area? This is a review. 4 by 6. 4 times 6, that's 24 centimeters squared for 2-dimensional. If they give you a square, remember, and they give you one number, then you have to multiply 9 times 9, and that would be the 81, because it's length times the width, and that's squared. But if you take this and you apply it to volume, you're going to find the area of the base, which would be the 4 times 5. And like I was saying in class, it's if you have the base this way, it can be 4 times 5. You can tip this up and have a 4 by 2 base if you tip it a different direction, or if you tip it that way, it could be a 5 by 2. It doesn't matter what the base is. You can tip a shape any direction. What you need to know with volume is that it is a 3-dimensional calculation, okay, that can be calculated in any order. This doesn't have to be the length, this doesn't have to be the width, and this doesn't have to be the height. Okay, boom, there you go. Length, width, height. It just doesn't matter. So we're going to be doing a lot more of that in the future. Use the formula today. Length, width, height, answer. Okay, we'll get into the rest of that another time. So open your books to page 13. And we'll get started. So today we're going to be doing a little bit of work on that centimeter grid paper that you guys have that I sent home, so it should be part of that packet. If you guys are not in my actual real class, I hope you have one of these. If you don't have this piece of paper template, this is like the old one. It said lesson 1 template 1, and I looked it up on the internet today, and I had to do a Google search for, I did Eureka Math Net Template CM Cubes, and then I went down to like my third choice, and it was grade 5, module 5, Engage New York, and I clicked on that, and when I got to the whole entire module, I had to scroll down past lesson 2. So now they have this thing in lesson 2. It's at the end of it, and you can print one of those. Don't print all. Don't just do Control P, yes, enter. Don't do that, because it's like hundreds of pages, so don't do that. I'm warning you. You'll have, your printer will be going for a long time. You just print the one page that you need. Okay. So shade the following figures on centimeter grid paper. Cut and fold each to make 3 open boxes, taping them so that they hold their shapes. Pack each box with cubes. So take your cubes, and you're going to write how many cubes fill each box. And go to your grid paper, and I need to have at least 2. Remember when I said in the book, I said divide it into 4 sections? You should do that with this one as well, so that off center there, but that's okay. So that you have the opportunity to make these different shapes. And you know, you can always erase these lines and scooch it up if needed. So what I need for the first figure is it has to be 2 away from the edge at least and 2 away from this edge. So I've got to have at least this here. Okay, so shade it in, just box it. Sorry, I shouldn't say shade, box it in. These 4 here, these 4 here, these 4 here. Oops, my bad. Okay, now you shade the base, just kind of like we normally do, just a quick shading. It's not art class. Okay, and you want to put the area of the base. So I know the area of the base is 4 because it's a 2 by 2. So I'm thinking 2 by 2 equals the area. So the area of the base is 4. That's the area. But now I need the height. And if you have some scissors, okay, you want to have some scissors handy. And I'm just going to cut right on the edge. And then I'm going to cut this. And I'm going to cut right here. And right here. That might take you a minute. Move that paper out of the way. Now, I don't need these edges here. So I'm going to cut them out. And cut it out. Same. I'll pick those up later. Confetti. And so the goal of today is, now that you have this fun piece of math, you're going to tip the edges up as though they were creating a box, because you literally are making a box. Put your centimeter cubes in there, and the other little supply, if you have any, is tape. And a tiny little bit of tape. In fact, this one is way too big, so I'm going to cut it in half. And I'm going to tape the sides like that, so that the sides will stay up, and then I can pack, look at that, tiny, tiny bits of tape. Don't waste a whole bunch. It's just, it gets in the way if it's too big. And then the last open flap, tape it closed. And so by doing this, now you see I have 3 yellow and 1 orange, and so the area of the base is 4. And now I'm going to fill in the rest of this so that my box is full. And you can see that we have the 4 times the height. And so that's really going to be another, sorry, it's 2, okay, right here is where you have 1 and 2. Whoops, that's a little crooked. Okay, so we have 2 layers high. So it's 4 and 4, or 4 times 2, and you get your 8, number of cubes 8. And so I don't think on this one you have to do 8 centimeters cubed. You can if you want, but it's just the number of cubes is 8. Okay, so we're not labeling it as volume quite yet. So that's what you're doing with your fun activity today. If you run out of cubes, just put your cubes back and start all over and leave your little empty box. Okay, so next one, you have to do a set of 4 and another set of 4. So get your paper back out. And we have to have 4 on the ends. So I'm going to go to the middle, and I'll have this 4. And then I have 2 sets of 4. So 4 there, 4 there. That's a total of 8 boxes in the middle. And as you can see, I'm just going to copy from here. It's 2 centimeter units high. So 2 high means it's going to go this way for 2, and it's going to go this way for 2 because that's where I will close my box, and then it has to go out like that. Now this is again the base right here in the middle. Two, 4, 6, 8. Now let's cut that out. And move the paper and snip off the ends, or those little corners, not the ends. If you cut off the ends, you will not have a box to tape together. So just cut out these little corner pieces that don't belong. And fold on those darkened lines so that you can have your box ready to go. And then get your tape handy and close it up. Again, very tiny pieces of tape. And you don't need to have the centimeter cubes in there, but it kind of helps to hold it. You can just put it on the little edge and then fold it up and then fold it over. Again, just tape it on one side, hold it up to the next one, and then fold it over. And you guys are probably saying, oh my gosh, how do you do this so fast? I'm so sorry. I just have to go quickly on these videos. You can always pause it if you need more time. Okay, now I have my little box for this model, and I need 8 cubes for the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oops, I will fit it. And 8. It will fit. Sometimes if you put the cubes in first, then it won't be so tight and you won't wreck it. There we go. Okay. So that is only one layer in my box. So today we're doing volume by packing these boxes with cubic units and then counting. So I know that I have the length times the width in the bottom, and it's 2 times 4 in any order equals 8. That's the area of the base here. But I need to also take the area times the height, which I have not done yet. And so the height is 2, so we're going to do 8 times 2, and that will give you the total, which you already knew, surely. And then we get our 16. And so there are 16 cubes. Okay, so again, box, 8 along the base, on the bottom, which I don't have drawn, but you can see it when you shake them out. Okay, so the area of the base is 8 times the height. So what we're doing is we're really just locking in that formula that when you're finding volume, you're essentially packing a box full of centimeter cubes, or whatever the unit is. Could be bigger. Okay, now for this last one, you actually need to use a little bit more space on your, just gonna rip that off of there, on your centimeter grid paper. And so if you don't have enough, you have to count how many you need. And if you need to use the one in your book, you might want to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I don't think I have 10 in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I just made it. Okay, so that's the tall way. And then I have to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 this way as well, but I'm pretty sure I am all good. So, make this nice and neat. And this is, I'm checking the time because if I run out of time, what I'm going to do is not quite finish this. So you guys know that this is your task for finishing on your own. I'll get you started though. So it's 10 tall, and then these are 4 wide. So let's go here up to the top. And in the middle, it's a 4 by 4. So this is the 4, and then I go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then at the bottom, it's a, oops, it's the side notes, I did it wrong. It's a 3 on each end, and then 4. I was thinking, look, I have so much extra room. There you go. 3 on the end, 4 by 4 in the middle, and then 3 on the other end, and here's where it just barely squeaked it in. And then on the sides, it's a 3 by 4. So this is the 4, but it's 3 because 3 is the height, so you have to go out for 3, and then out for 3, down for 4. This is really using a lot of lead, I can tell. Okay, shade the bottom. Just do it lightly so you can see where the base is. Okay, and then cut it out. And I'm going to go ahead and finish, and then I'll come back to it and finish this at the end if I have enough time. All right, so take a look. It's going to be the area of the base, so length times width equals area. It's a 4 by 4, which is 16. You can count them if you want, but sometimes kids will lose count and they end up, well, there are 17. And I'm like, no, 17 is a prime number. You're not going to get that. So what is the height? The height is how much it's going to go up. Okay, this is the height. So that's going to be 3. This is also the height this way. So that's going to be 3. So it's 3. So take your 16 and you have to multiply by the height. Okay, 6 times 3, 18, 48. And so there's the answer. I'll make the box at the end if I remember. Hopefully I will remember. Sometimes I forget because I get so busy. Okay, we're at 17 minutes. We're good. Predict how many centimeter cubes. This is where I just look at it and I'm like, it's hard for me to predict because I'm going 4 times 2. Predict how many centimeter cubes will fit in each box and briefly explain your predictions. Use cubes to find the actual volume. So you can go ahead and just take these. It says the figures are not drawn to scale. So what they're saying is you shouldn't be able to put these centimeters there and centimeter cubes and find the actual volume. It's pretty close. Okay, so it's a 4 by 2, and I'm just going to guess 8 because, well, it's 4 times 2 times 1, and so the actual is 8. And that's all there is to that one. When we have these larger cubes, if you have your 4 by 2, well, I know it's 8, but how many layers tall? And again, think of layers of a cake. If I have frosting here, this is the dividing point in between the layers. And so it's going to take the 8 that I had previously, and I need to have 2 layers of that, or 8 times 2. So, I mean, it's hard for me to not predict that it's 16 because, well, it's 16, and it's just, I don't know, it's hard to predict it wrong. Now this one, I could just kind of eyeball it and guess. Looks like about 5 times 4, 20, 20, 40, 60, I don't know. Like, you could just kind of throw out some numbers if you wanted to randomly be guessing. But again, length times width times height to get the actual. So let's say you guess it's 45. Okay, just totally randomly guessing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 2 times 4. Here's our base and height, our 3 dimensions, and we have to multiply these. You can do 5 times 2 is 10 times 4 is 40. You could do 5 times 4 is 20, and times 2 is 40. So the actual is going to be 40, and it's just really a matter of length times width times height on a right rectangular prism. 5 times 2 times 4. And there's your 40. Okay. And this one, again, when it says cut it out, if you've already cut it out or if you're trying to use the one in the book, you might run out of supplies if you don't print something off the internet. And fold it into a cube. Oh, and they have a bigger one too. Predict the number of 1 centimeter cubes that would be required to fill it. The bigger one does not use centimeters. It has like inches, but you can always print those out. I wonder if they still have it. Yeah, this is the one I'm thinking of. This is like an inch, but it's even bigger than that. And so they will direct you to do fun things with those in a bit. But when they say use the centimeter cubes, that's the little grid paper that I was cutting out earlier. Okay. So now we're going to go back to here and we're going to finish this because this last one is like, well, if you make a box, you predict what goes in it. So I don't know what size box you're going to make, but you get to decide. And then, again, it's hard to predict. You can just grab a handful of the cubes and see what it would take to fill the bottom. Now I'm going to do the 4 by 4. And one more. Okay. And then you can fold up and then try to tape it closed. And these can have a little bit bigger piece of tape because they're taller, so it works to use like a whole piece. Oops, that's not straight. It's almost straight. What's nice about this great tape is that when I mess up, I can just unpeel it and start over. Okay. Come back. It's fun playing with these. Again, keep them away from your little siblings and your pets because they are choking hazards. And then close that side off. And now that I have those two sides, it's going to hopefully stay together a little bit better. And the last one. Oops, don't make it too tight. You just got to fit your centimeter cubes in. Okay, so you have your 16 for the base, and now you have to do that 3 levels high. Now I'm pretty sure my students don't have enough cubes to do that, so you can kind of fiddle around with it. If you have any of your own, be sure and build the whole thing. You can have lots of fun building with these. In fact, usually I'll come around and kids will have a pyramid of some sort of hundreds of cubes. There you go. So that's 2 layers, and then you have 1 more layer of 16 that you have to put in. Okay, and that goes back to this problem here, giving us 48 cubes that fill this figure, 3 layers high, and that's 48. So anyway, become a subscriber and you will get all the videos that I'm doing. I'm going to try to do the whole book this year. So we'll get all the answers for the problem sets. Thanks to all you out there who are subscribers, and I'll see you on the next video.